Testing, testing. Okay, looks like it works pretty well. Um, I'm gonna be trying to do something a little bit different today. I'm just gonna, read my web novel that I've been not really working on recently, but I just remind myself that 4 months ago I was passionate about this story, and I'm just gonna read it. I'm just gonna simply just use it as content and see where this goes. Put a comment if you want to see more, obviously. And let's just get with it. Pardon my voice acting. If you don't like it, you can just turn it off and just speed up the video while I scroll down to the story. I'm only gonna do one chapter. See how it goes. Kenshi, the Rogue Ronin. Ronin in ancient Japan are former samurai without masters or ties to people and friends. Only one thing can tie them to their past or even hint at it, or to be the sword. The use and practice of skill with a sword, known as swordsmanship, though it would be honed to perfection by only one man, Kenshi Shirayami. Shirayami was a poor common villager with no ties to his name or value in anything he had. One day, while playing with his friend Ryo, he accidentally came upon two samurai sparring in kendo swords. Ryo with him, which sparked such interest, Kenshi with gleaming eyes as most children would when seeing a new interest with his close friend. Ryo beside him, he declared, "I want to do that." Kenshi whispered, "Me too," Ryo said, equally interested. "Here, we can start here." Ryo proceeds to grab a stick, giving it to Kenshi. Yeah, who knew he would forever regret grabbing that stick or even practicing the way of the sword. Kenshi and Ryo would duel for hours on end every day till they reached the age of 8 when Ryo's mom got sick. Warning, this is about to get a little bit cringe. Chapter 1, Viper. The Ryu family were foreigners from a land far from the west, and were merchants that stayed temporarily in Japan to trade goods. During the 4 years together, Ryu and Kenshi's bond grew strong. Meanwhile, in Ryu's house. Ryu's house was a small straw house, like the rest of the villagers, but usually rambunctious, was now lost of life and painfully silent, with only one noise and presence, the heavy panting of a woman fighting for her life against an unknown demon she didn't know. Ryu's mom had black blisters and mounds throughout the body. "Kenshi," Ryu whelped and cried. "What do we do?" She pleaded. I don't know," Kenshi said in uncertainty and gloom. "We have to save her somehow," Ryu yelled in desperation. I'm not yelling because it's like 1 a.m. Kenshi stood there in silence and shock, not answering. Ryu, as he, an 8-year-old boy like any other, never dealt or was told how to. I was widely accepted that these symptoms were demons everyone faced and had to be fought alone, but Ryu, coming from the West, despised and ignored this notion. It stated it was no such thing. I don't know," what Kenshi said with uncertainty. His whole life he was pressured to the fact that the unknown were gods and deities, these mysteries meant not to be solved. Mysteries that were not meant to be solved. Yeah, my grammar's really bad. I made this when I was like 8th grade, and I didn't decide to fix it till now. I only fixed the later sections, not the early ones. "There's a way, but promise you won't tell anyone, Kenshi." "I won't. I promise. In the woods there's a sakura tree that blooms flowers only when the moon bleeds. But we can use it to cure this sickness." Kenshi wanted to take this as seriously as possible, but making the moon bleed was preposterous. But nevertheless, he let Ryu finish her statement. "It's a ritual to draw blood on a full moon onto the sakura. I believe, but as a foreigner, I cannot go on sacred grounds, so I was hoping, Kenshi, you would." Ryu started to worry. "How do you know it will work?" "It is the reason my family came here, to escape the plague and find its cure. The flower you are taking isn't any ordinary flower. It's the flower of rebirth." Kenshi understood why he had to keep this secret. Foreigners who ran from the plague are known to be outcasts. Then with such a thing called the flower of rebirth wasn't something you could just take. The elders in the government would probably be furious. Though, Kenshi didn't know the government was the last ones of the worries when obtaining the flower of rebirth. "I'll try my best." Kenshi got up and ran through the forest without wasting a second more. The dead of night, it was risky, maybe even stupid, but to help his friend, he would do anything. When arriving there, A man sat there with a wide metal hat, meant to shield one from the rain, but the wooden hat seemed to be better purpose for concealing his identity. A noticeable difference in his face was that it was covered with a mask with venomous long teeth battering it. Who are you? Kenshi said, shaking with fear. I'm simply a traveler that wants to rest, and waiting for anything that calls otherwise. Looking up, his crimson eyes with spirals shook Kenshi to his core. But Kenshi didn't hesitate to take a step closer, even though the fear struck his hearted soul. Well, you got a nice look in your eyes, boy. The man responded with his eyes clearly turned into a slanted smile. But state your purpose. His voice instantly went cold, while a hand on his sword. I'm here for the plant of rebirth, Kenshi said with confidence. Before Kenshi could finish the reason why, a small purse containing a herb was tossed at him. Here, now, go! Quickly! The man yelled. Kenshi ran away as fast as he came, looking back only to see another mysterious man approaching with the same bloodlust he felt before. But it didn't matter. This herb surely had to be the rebirth plant. Herb, or whatever. Right, Kenshi thought with excitement, knowing he would save his friend's mom, that he secretly thought to be his own. Arriving in the house, he had hoped it wasn't too late, but he didn't hear any voices. Thinking the worst, he rushed in the room through the dark fire. Oh, and in front of him, Ryo was sleeping on her mother's hand, and her mother still coughing, but significantly less worse, and was sitting up smiling at Kenshi. What are you doing here, Kenshi? I'm here to get you medicine, showing the bag of herbs. Ryo and Mom shook with surprise and worry, but mostly genuine happiness. It was after she saw me as a hero in legends. She hugged me tight in the grass, which felt like a mama bear hug I was born to. What happened? How did you survive the viper? She said with worry. What? There was no... What? A snake? There was no snake. Ah, you mean the kind man. I mean, he kind of looked like a snake. There was an eerie silence in the room. Kenshi, who told you to go? Kenshi promised to keep it a secret. But Ryo knew who it was. When Kenshi's eyes wandered to Ryo's mom, forgot about that. Whoops. Kenshi, please go home for a while. While walking back home, he heard the yells of Ryo. You sentenced him to death! I didn't save you! He heard. Kenshi walked up a tree while marking on it. His favorite sakura tree left in a field of wheat, the only place he could call home rather than Ryo's family. Kenshi home was a tree in the middle of a wheat field. He never told Ryo or anyone this place, due to the embarrassment of basically being homeless and not wanting Ryo's family to worry over him. It was fall, so the sheer subtle and moist winds felt like cold nails being thrown at his skin. Climbing up the tree, he was shielded from the harsh winds and weather. It was weird how in the middle of the tree it was empty, enough space to lay down one of his mighty branches. Another weird thing is that the tree was in a never-ending bloom. That should have been a tourist attraction, but it seemed only he and the owner of the wheat fields knew of this. The next day, first person. Waking up to the buzz of the Japanese hornet, I got up and walked around till I got to Ryo's house. It was empty. Then a horse neighed. Looking out, I saw a wagon behind a fancy carriage. What is that? And why is it in the village? I wondered. Surprisingly, a man came out, with white hair matched strikingly like Ryo. Looking around, immediately wide-eyed when seeing me going through a crowd of commoners with his son. It was Ryo, but tied up hair in a fancy male kimono. Ryo's father and I assumed, came to me and shook my hand. Arigato! He said in broken Japanese. For a simple thank you and a handshake, he sure is crying a lot then. Ryo was speaking to his ear in a foreign language. They both proceeded to gaze in front of me. I was beyond shocked. People in high class usually treat commoners like trash. Is the West different, I wonder? Ryo's dad pointed POV and previous day. I finally did it. Making a military weapon in exchange with the Shogun allowed me to be the exclusive ambassador and trader between the West and the Japanese. I can't wait to surprise my wife. We can get out of this village with filth, and any child can get away. That one kid. I was surprised to hear yelling in the house after escalating the situation. I learned my wife almost died of sickness and the kid's sacrifice. I was ashamed of my fluent dots, and my child declared something. I'm gonna be with Kenshi! Her eyes were firm and serious, showing this wasn't a statement, it was an oath. You can't marry him, I said. Who knew I would be reaped from that statement? Then I'll be his equal. I'll be a samurai. If you say no, I'm disowning you, he declared, not taking no for an statement. I regret letting Ryu become my successor, though with my backing, we could make two into the greatest warriors of the age. There's still like a lot of like stuff I do have to recap and like reiterate, but whatever. I wasn't adopted into the family I so loved, but I was an honored infinite guest. It felt strange how fast the change of title, class, and situation was. A strange coincidence was when two men were sparring in the dojo. I noticed there were same people me and Ryu watched a few years ago when I cleared that I wanted to wield the blade. I practiced every day with Ryu, but no one else. We copied all the techniques the men were showing. It's only been a few months practicing with Ryu, but I felt like I could win against the swordmans we used to admire. The man grew more frustrated with the fact I was watching them and wincing at every movement, as I knew the inefficiencies of each swing, step, etc. You got a problem, the two swordsmen said, approaching me, no more than 10 meters between us. No. Well, actually, yes. Who the hell you think you're talking to? Said both men in sync. Well, I think it's better to just show you. My hands, they're shaking. My body was stuttering. It's just fear. When I'm holding a sword, it feels like if something in my body was uncontrollably shaking, like a heat that burns up and wants to be released. Your first form is flawed. It's too complex and messy, not straight to the point. I say, having already unsheathed the sword at a speed faster than a horse at full bother with my blade on the corduroy of one of the men. If it was a real blade, he would have already died. The segment did not hesitate for a top strike. Decent, but that strike was too many counters. If it is not set up, it's inviting death to you. I say why disarming the man previously used his blade to block the blow, and the other to thrust at the second man's throat, stopping only when it touched the skin. Second man, Hisashi. I was shocked and surprised that a kid, looking to be 10 years of age, was able to defeat me and my friend in an instant. We surpassed our teachers and never challenged unless we were with each other. Though this kid defeated us like we were low-class thugs, it was the equivalent presence of our teacher before we defeated him from his health failing. The kid had guts, confidence, reminiscent of a great commander, a person who you could feel would shake the nation. I smiled and asked, "Who are you kids?" while slapping the blade off my throat. The name's Kenshi. Oh, that explained why he was marked by the Eternal Viper. That skill and confidence when wielding a sword, but why has he lost all his presence? Yo kid, why are you getting all jitsy all of a sudden? Well, I'm supposed to respect my seniors. I didn't mean to disrespect you, but your swordsmanship has too many flaws. This guy has some balls in my swordsmanship far, when many have fallen to my blade, but he's not wrong. I didn't get your name. My name is Hisashi, I said with heart, to break the atmosphere, slapping his back. It seemed to break the atmosphere a little bit as he started to smile. Yo kid, me and you are friends, from now on equals. I say I know one day you will have to face the greatest swordsmen in Japan, and I and anyone in the Ryu household will make sure you ascend higher than you ever imagined. What are you talking about? Why would the greatest swordsman in Japan fight me? What do you mean? You received a gift from him. That's unpaid, haven't you? It seemed no one informed Kenshi of the enemy he had to face, or the price of the rebirth herb. After realizing what burden was upon him, now the kid had eyes that were hollow, like someone realizing death was in front of him, or that he was already dead. Almost on instinct, he grabbed one of the wooden swords and began to smoke and laugh maniacally. So you put me to death, and you knew. Pass. My death collector is literally the best swordsman in Japan. I'm not gonna do that. I'll just edit like Kira laughing. Finally, a worthy opponent scored a goal. He screamed. My heart and soul was shocked. The cowering and shook boy was no more when he was holding a sword. It was what I sensed before. POV, first man, Tenkeni. After being subdued by that kid, I found out he's the disgusting karma that foreign Ryu family brought. After finding this out, it didn't faze Hisashi. Instead, he started getting buddy with that kid. He even dared to insult our sword style. I was gonna go for a round two, but before I could, the kid was laughing like a psychopath while holding a sword. I saw Hisashi smoking, and eyes of admiration. Hell, you gotta be kidding me. What the hell is he sees in that deranged orphan? Grabbing the wooden sword, I merely go for a strike. My fault last time was not having my sword drawn on you. No, it's your wasted amount of movement, the kid said. Without drawing his sword, he kicked my wrist down before I could slash it up and slap me in the face. I tried again with my turn. Would have to be a ready slash with my feet being slapped up. Turning into a sweeping kick and falling my ass. This con is using petty tricks. I finally look eye to eye with that kid. That garners respect to my kohai, Kuzoshi. When I saw a cocky feel smile, a calculated battle junkie, it's the opposite of a usual samurai that would be stoic, cool, and collected. It felt different, but nevertheless, he's a filthy commoner that conned his way in here. I slapped the kid's hand that was trying to get me up. Walking away, I'm starting to think there might be more to commoners than the labor we have to protect. I have to minimize my movement, huh? I chuckled a bit. Oh god, my throat's getting so dry. I already read this like 8 times. Back to Kenshi. POV. I defeated the first man with ease again. Hizoshi seemed a bit mad. I'm sorry that I hurt your friend. No, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Tenkeni. To think he doesn't respect the owner of this household by now respecting you in conjunction makes me pissed. No, it's fine. I'm just a commoner anyways. Hizoshi was uncontrollably shaking, so furious he punched the ground, making a deep hole in the ground. Why can't you see you're all human? Hizoshi sighed on his breath and left while gritting his teeth, leaving abruptly. An hour later. I was flabbergasted by what happened in span of an hour. I would against the 2 people who made me want to start swordsmanship in the first place. They made one of them pissed and the other furious. I was still standing there processing what happened while training even harder than before. Hizoshi came back. I'm kinda nervous because he's still mad. Kenshi, you are human, so we are equals. Understand that? Hizoshi said in a soft voice. Okay, so you understand, right? I think that means we're friends, right? It doesn't matter what class I'm from, and as we are friends, I said with doubtfulness. Yes! Hizoshi said with a twinkle and a spark in his eyes. For the rest of the year, I exclusively trained with Hizoshi. I started to get used to the real lifestyle of a noble family. You were told to keep your head high and be served, food cleaned, food, and etc. It was weird yet comforting knowing I didn't have to do anything to basically survive. After a week in the Wii U household, I gained the recognition and attention of everyone. Due to the duel last week and tips I periodically gave the guard in training, then the clean tips I gave to all the maids, it's been a year, and my only friend is Hizashi, and Ryura now counts as my brother. So sad. I may have gotten recognition, but not friendship. Maid POV. The name, Kiki. I've been a maid for Ryura household just last year. The most interesting thing is that one of the sins of the household is a descendant from a commoner. Surprisingly enough, he wasn't as condescending as other commoners that gained titles, like Tenpenny. Ever since Tenkeni was defeated by Kenshi, he seems to be less annoying, I guess, but the maids love the help of Kenshi. He's such a cute boy, but so mature. It's hard to believe he's the same age as some of the maids, as his body is lean and built. If he was a noble, the girls would have pounced on him already, even the older ones. The guards at first had to unconditionally respect him, and the peons with his tips on the training, the guards actually genuinely started to respect him. And the guards are seeing improvements and saw contrasting differences in treatment between Tenkeni and Kenshi. Damn, I gotta rewrite that whole thing. Today I've decided Kenshi is a noble. So even though Kenshi is a noble, I'm gonna befriend him. Lately I've noticed Kenshi is going out on training. He's not with Hizashi. Okay, I gotta pause this. Sorry for the interruption. He's not with Ryo or Hizashi. It seems he has no genuine friendships, so I'll be his first. When I got there, I saw Ryura as... I gotta do more feminine voice, but fuck, my voice is scuffed. Usually talking to Kenshi. They seem to enjoy themselves. I barely noticed, but Ryura was blushing. They must be talking about something naughty. I won't let Kenshi be corrupted any further. I steel myself to join the conversation. Kenshi, POV. It has been a while since I've seen Ryura, who's now my new brother. Lately, he's been away from my training a lot and doesn't hang out with the guards or any of the male staff, or anyone, except me. He barely doesn't have noble obligations, but I bet he's getting secret training. but I won't let him beat me in no way in hell. He gave me so much, so there's no way I'm not going to be his equal. There I saw Ryu, with his signature long ponytail, frontal spiky hair, and a silk kimono embellished with the golden patterns of a dragon. Smooth, graceful, and the noble presence was how Ryu presented himself. He didn't have just fine muscles like me, but he made up with it, and with an immeasurable amount of skill. The facade all broke when he began to talk to me. Kenshi, let us do battle. In that instant, a wooden sword was drawn. You're on, I said with the same tone, with a smile. The draw of both blades were refined and perfected to kill. If he were to blink, the battle would be over, but none of them made that mistake. In battle, elegance and noble demeanor immediately disappeared too into a battle junkie, and the humble Kenshi into a cold-blooded war general. Ryu's sword style, opposed to his slender body type, was forceful but deadly efficient. Kenshi's was smooth and efficient. In Kenshi's word, I redirect a waterfall with the tilt of a leaf. Best demonstrated when Ryu's sword drawn was instantly redirected upwards with the blunt of the blade. Reverse parry, Kenshi whispered under his breath. Ryu changed styles into a European one, fencing, which didn't surprise Kenshi in the slightest. Until Ryu changed mid-thrust into a claymore style, spinning his weight into a horizontal slash. Kenshi tried to parry but was unsuccessful. The force was too much, and his footing was lost. Sensing weakness, Ryu quickly spun to the reverse direction to break all that was left of Kenshi's posture. Kenshi predicted that. Oh my god. Sorry for the interruption, my brother came in. Okay. Kenshi predicted this, and to surprise Ryu, parried the strike with the tip of the blade. Perfect parry, Kenshi whispered under his breath. Redirected the blade upward. Ryu countered by switching to a half-sword position, but it was too slow, and he was flipped upside down with Kenshi's judo. Both panting and smiling, the battle was a draw, as Ryu hit a dagger, and Kenshi's sword was at Ryu's chest. A tie again, Ryu pouted. Kenshi was interrupted with Ryu's fingers covering his lips. In response, Kenshi biting his fingers to tease Ryu, making him flustered. Ew, you weirdo, Ryu yelled. And then one of the maids came and interrupted us before we could continue talking. You need some water? Kiki said with a gentle politeness. Immediately, Ryu's smile was gone and went back to a stern and elegant noble. Wait, I gotta change this music. This music sucks. Sorry for the interruption, the music sucked. You need some water? Kiki said with gentle politeness. Damn, I could go for some water. Immediately, Ryu's smile was gone and went back to the stern and elegant noble. What are you doing here? You know it's forbidden to watch samurai sparring, Ryu lectured in a loud, booming voice. Don't you think you're being too stern? No, Kenshi, you must understand, not abiding tradition and regulation leads to punishments like death. This? Not being an exception, Kenshi. I don't think we should kill someone over that. Me either, and that's why I'm giving you a stern warning, okay? Oh, okay. I understand. Good now, go somewhere, shoo shoo, Ryu commanded while gesturing his hand like swatting a fly. The maid scurried off as possible. It seemed she was tearing up. I wanted to chase after her, but with Ryu's stern warning, I didn't move. Even though Ryu was younger than me by a year, he sure had a commanding demeanor. To a certain extent, I thought he was like an older brother looking after me. No, that's not quite right. Maybe like a friend that looks over your mistakes. Maybe like a partner. Another year had passed. I'm apparently 16. When I asked if Ryu was basically close to adulthood, I've noticed I had developed feelings for one of my caretakers, Kiki. It seemed after a mistake of watching a duel, she became more beautiful. Even older men would try to suit her. The long, silky black hair, silent and expressionless face would be pleasing to all who gazed upon her. Many times the shogun would come down to the Ryu family, but she would decline to save face. He would have to give in and leave. Till one day I heard arguing near the front of my room. It was Kiki and a man. She seemed to be struggling with an older, massive man. It was one of the associates of the Ryu family, a European uncle of Ryu that would often visit for the same reason any other male associated. Though he would usually contain himself with flirting, it seemed like he was forcing himself on Kiki. Kenshi heard her shriek, breaking her emotionless face. Oh god, fucking god, fuck. I merely dashed towards Ryu's uncle. A built blonde man, blue eyes, that seemed that he knew, or like any other warrior. Nevertheless, I grabbed one of his limbs and, okay, I need a break, hold up. Sorry for the interruption. talking for like 3 hours straight kind of fucks up your voice. A pale blonde hair and blue eyes man that seemed to know war like any other warrior. Nevertheless, I grabbed one of his limbs and flipped him over and put my knee on his throat, preparing a knife hand to strike his liver if he attempted to struggle. "What are you doing?" I screamed. "I'm simply playing with a woman. Isn't that how you treat women in these parts?" Ryuka Uncle said with a grin. "That's how you treat women in the Red District, not here," I glared at him. "And if your self-respect is so low you have to behave like an animal to satisfy your lust, I swear by her honor I'll do you." Interesting. I accept," Ryu Uncle chuckled. "I see, you don't take this seriously." Kiki goes to the head of the house and tells him to referee the duel. It would be set down. After Kiki ran away, I immediately loosened my knee, went up, looking down at the massive behemoth of a man lying on the floor, laughing with infuriation, which infuriated me beyond belief. It was finally here. I set down the wind. The guards, the maids, and the socials of the family was housing all come to watch. Oh shit, I forgot to play the music. Sorry. Okay, to watch. State your name, the referee ordered. Ryu Kenshi of the Ryu household. Ryu Jack. Pleasure to meet you. His voice is supposed to be more hoarse, but my voice is already fucked enough, so I'm not gonna voice it. Unless you guys request a part 2 or some crazy shit. Probably not. I was given a wheel katana for the first time in my life, but it felt more natural than the wooden ones I sparred with, and felt 3 times lighter than a wooden one. This meant my draw would be assumed to be 3 times faster. I wasn't going to enjoy this, but the disrespect was too high. Ryu's father gave a nod of confirmation, and Ryu, in his emotionless face, had a little crescent going up on the edge of his lips. Kiki whispered cheers and a thin smile. I'm about to burp. Oh, fuck. Ugh. Pardon me. "Do your best and good luck." All the excitement immediately ended when the referee announced the rules of the duel and the reason for it. Due to the honor of Lady Kiki being soiled, I response Kenshi for a duel to death, and the head of the house agreed. Silence broke out through the crowd. The once benches cheering crowd was no more silent than the breeze of winds. It seemed most of this was opted out by submission. Thought that this duel was opted out by submission, but even if Kenshi would win, he wouldn't be a kid anymore after murdering a man. Neither outcome wasn't good. Neither outcome was good. Fuck. Jesus, I gotta really rewrite this. Meanwhile, in the stands. "Father, what the hell is this?" Ryu said, pissed out of his mind. "A test." The head, Ryu father, simply replied. "And? What are you worried about? For him? We all know he will succeed, but you worried for yourself? As to be his equal, you also have to kill. You bastard. Let's make a bet that if Kenshi becomes a renowned samurai, you could go back to being a girl and I'll let you marry him. But if he doesn't, you will inherit my title and marry a suitor I choose. Don't worry, he will keep your secret." Disgusting. Of course I'm not taking that bet. I'd rather... Kenshi. Fine, I'll take it, Ryu said while seeing the girl whose honor was being defended chill on Kenshi. "I see, you're afraid of him being someone else, but great men being with someone else, but great men will always be sought out, especially ambitious ones." Oh, fucking hell. I'm sorry, guys. Kenshi, POV. Ready to fight when I heard that I knew I would end this battle. A seasoned warrior versus me, a commoner that wields a sword. No, not a commoner, a samurai who's unequal to every person that cheers me on. Immediately I held steady on my sheath and waited for a blink, a flicker, or a stab, and an inch of hesitation, a weakness to signal a draw of my sword, in which he did all those and some more. With a rush with an overhead axe string, with an unbalanced posture, loosened grip, uneven footing, and hands that seemed not fully grip the blade. Finally, last, a blink. In that single blink, first technique, swordsman style, draw! I said under my breath. I designed it to be the fastest and most refined way of unsheathing a blade. There are many techniques of a draw, but this one was preferably the most basic and fastest. as I perfected it every day when training alone. But that didn't matter. It was finished. My blade unsheathed, cutting through his overbearing arms, then into his throat, and then through the air behind his head. It was only blood, so much I couldn't see the crowd. I felt everything and nothing at once. I don't know how I became numb or if something was wrong with my mind, but thoughts were so crowded there was no conclusive thoughts. Turio came over, jumping from the stands and fist bumping my chest, awakening me from the state of blood. Darn it, you got the first kill. How am I supposed to keep up with that? Ryu smiled. But I just killed your uncle. A murdered word for everyone's sanity. Ah, yes. My molesting, woman disrespecting, no honor uncle that wanted to kill my brother. Huh. Who should I side with? Ryu said while patting Kenshi's back and washing off the blood with handkerchief he had in his pocket. Proud POV. A 16-year-old kid with no battle experience and merely slaughtered a war veteran that's seen more battles than most Japanese men have. Full of blood, many were disgusted to see in horror. Some soldiers stayed in stunned, while a select few, which were the Edos who've seen many battles, clapped in respect. Though no one followed in clapping, the woman whose honor was defended immediately started puking and looking at her knight in fear, maybe even disgust. The only one who came to congratulate him was his brother Ryu, creating an atmosphere like they were in another world, in the middle of the blood. The two brothers slowly walking, having a conversation like they didn't just witness or do anything with blood. Ryu POV. Fuck! He actually killed someone, you crazy bastard! God damn it, Kenshi! Is he shot? I asked myself, while holding back the puke from seeing a person's head rolling over the ground, but it didn't matter because Kenshi was standing there for what seemed a prolonged period of time as I was closely watching his face change blink. No. I kept telling myself as I felt Kenshi would lose all humanity if someone didn't snap her out, especially if he sees that maid. I can't believe she looks disgusted. And you were the one who asked for your help, you dumb bitch. God damn, she's ruthless. It doesn't matter, Kenshi needs someone. And I proceeded to jump down in the stalls and fist bump him in the chest. After a few talks, I led him out into the arena and made sure the people who weren't bothered by the blood could cheer him on when he left the arena. It was reasonably a large group. Some half to half were either soldiers and guards, but laced in with the elders that went to congratulate him and congratulate Kenshi for his fine swordsmanship and his will to follow through. It seemed at first Kenshi was shocked and regretful, but gave in to the compliments and started to cheer up and temporarily forget about him decapitating someone as his first kill. Kenshi, POV. I felt empty and lost, and was woken up by Ryu's fist bump. We left the arena fairly quickly. I didn't even notice because me and Ryu started talking about what we were going to have for dinner as we walked out of the arena. Many people came to greet us and complimented my swordsmanship. I was impressed, Sonny. Your sword basically cut the man in half! The old man chuckled. I merely shook back to thinking about the man I killed. I regretted it in every sense. That was till the men kept on showing me it was fine, and that he was scum. Either way, it was you or him. Classic arguments that I felt were valid, but what if there was another option? I put that doubt on hold. I could accept the compliments as genuinely as possible. So I could accept the... Going to my room, I didn't see Kiki or a single soul near the branch of my room. It seems people were actively avoiding me. My heart ached. Reason that maybe I did something wrong. Walking out to the house road, I went to get fresh air. It seemed like the local birthday being celebrated to the stalls and restaurants were still open. It must be a special person. I went to one of my favorite stalls that would serve the worst ramen possible, but always somehow humbled me and reminded me of my origins. Right. When I got in, I saw a white-haired girl sitting in one of the stalls that was covered with fabric. This ramen shop was meant to keep the confidentiality of the users in the shop. The girl had slim, supple skin that glowed in the dim light of the fire. The hair was kept and glossy. She wasn't in excess of anything, but her beauty wasn't lost with a blue floral patterned kimono. With that apple beauty to a point, I was wondering if it was Kiki in disguise. But the comparison was completely gone, as the difference between a commoner learning to be elegant and a natural elegant woman were night and day. Her motion of her hands was also inciting. Not a blemish or a stain on the hands, softly hinting that this lady had never done hard work in her life. What can I say? She was an elegant, stunning, beautiful woman. While I was confused on how a girl like her is not more known My mom was ready. Here you go, kid. Hey, who's that chick? You know we're not supposed to reveal customers' identity. She's not someone you could sway with words. Trust me. Then can you at least tell me what she looks like? She has gold eyes and a pretty sharp face for a woman. Petite nose, maybe I shouldn't say more. The shopkeeper stopped as the customer stared him down. I could tell he shut up immediately when the girl turned her face towards his direction. You know, if you want to know something, maybe you should ask the person. Oh, fuck. You know, if you want to know something, maybe you should ask the person, the girl said as she pointed chopsticks towards me in a gesture that showed she knew where I was. I was only a seat away anyways. Her voice sounded familiar, like I heard it long ago. It was a girly, kind of hot voice. Well, then can I see your face? No. She immediately interrupted me. Oh, then what do you look like? I think you've seen enough of me already. She teased while stroking her thigh in a seductive manner. I gulped, and then I ate the noodles at a fast pace, wanting to finish before she did, so I could take a glance at least. But right when I was finished, I looked to the right. She was gone. Damn it! Oh, that's chapter 1. You actually like this, I guess subscribe and just put a comment section or just like the video. I will be uploading this on Wattpad if any of you guys ask in the comment sections. If this doesn't get traction, I don't know, I'll just be chilling. See ya.